This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. And
covenant cleanup, we say stupid things all of the time.
Personal foul. Clipping.
Oh my God!
L. All this negativity that's in this town sucks.
Win the final 3 games of this series, and they hang on for dear life in Game 6 to win 3-2 and eliminate the Wild. And their first round hurdle still remains for Minnesota, as they haven't gotten past the opening round since 2015.
Sorry about that, Double B. Alec, Lewis, and I we're tending to reparations of the therapeutic Davenport of love off what happened last night. Alec Lewis is the co-host today for the Friday Fill-In Feast. I don't exactly know how many highlights you played, but guess what? We're going to play him again. Sadly, the Minnesota Wild season has come to a conclusion, and it started with a negative vibe.
Saad tips to Pietrangelo, knifed one in front, blocked by Faber, couldn't get it out. Hurdle scores! Tomas Hurdle opens the scoring in Game 1.
Tomas Hurdle. But alas, we have life.
Foligno deep in the Golden Knights zone. Around the net of Hill, right side, spinning and shaking out of the corner. Marcus Foligno centered. Hartman, a shot. He scores!
Yeah.
Ryan Hartman with 4 seconds to go in the opening period, and they won't take this one away. It's 1-1 in Game 6.
Hartsey is on fire. Likewise for Joe O'Donnell on those calls. And this one counted unlike the previous game. And for those who followed last night, yes, we had life until their stars decided to shine.
Carlson tried to tip it free for Eichel. McNabb rescues the loose puck out of the stone into open ice. Look out, it's Eichel. He's got room. Jack Eichel in. Took a shot. He scores. His first of the series.
Damn it.
And a deflating one, to say the least. The Golden Knights back in front 2-1.
Eichel and Stone and Eichel, they're stars, and we got stoned.
Golden Knights have it again. Center point Theodore. Handed along left side. McNabb waiting. Down from the goal line. Threw one in front. They score. Mark Stone out of midair with 3:58 to go. He baseball bats it home, and the Golden Knights are in front by 2.
Yeah.
Oh! Dead and buried, right? Dead and buried, right? Not so fast, Festus. Not with Hartsey on the payroll.
Diving Middleton. Great effort there. He went hard into the end wall. Centering feed. Johansson alone in front. Couldn't tuck it home. They score!
Hey.
Hartman tucks it home, his second of the game. And the Wild are right back within 1.
Well, 3-2 with 3.5 to go. The desperate went to pepper him, the goalie, but couldn't overtake that hill. So one of the core 4 has bitten the dust, and this is the Friday Fill-In Feast. Brett's Betts is producing, and Alec Lewis with The Athletic is co-hosting for the duration of the show. Alec Lewis, you have been next to seasons that end in playoff losses. and it leads to sad locker rooms and press conferences. That's very much the case here, and good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Brett. Great to see you. Yeah, it's brutal when you start to feel like hope. And that's why, I mean, you would know this better than I would, but the beginning of the series and kind of the way, I mean, Kirill and Boldy look to be playing off one another, the optimism that I think it gave at least me, some young person who hasn't seen the struggles in the first round here year after year.
Right.
It's tough that it ended that way. I got to tell you, after the 3-1 goal, I changed it to the basketball, and I was pretty frustrated. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got to be honest. I was having a hard time. Then I get a text like 2 seconds later. We're back.
We're back.
We're back. I was so excited. They're peppering the net, which is my analysis. But yeah, it's Russo. I mean, I think it put out the tweet. It says 2015, 8 first round losses. Right. It just, I mean, it's just you just feel for people. You feel for the fan base that was electric in there last night. That's the thing. I will say, having watched a ton of NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs over the last, I mean, I don't know, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it does feel like every game being played in Minnesota is louder than games being played elsewhere.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And I mean, so you want it for the people who pay their hard-earned money, but also care as much as they do. And I thought when I heard that there was going to be a Boldy towel, pregame given away. I thought the omen was. I mean, I thought it was a good omen.
Double B, noted wild wonk. What did you think of the game?
I thought a lot of it.
You didn't tweet at all last night, which was weird.
Well, yeah, I tried to learn my lesson from Game 5 and just not say anything. Did you see the Opta stat that the Wild are the first team in Big Four, the MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL history to make the playoffs 8+ times in a 10-year span, but lose in the first round every single time.
Oh my gosh!
So, other than that, Miss Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah.
So we haven't gone to the second round since 2015.
Yeah, I couldn't vote back then. That's how long ago it was. Look, it's frustrating, and the effort was good, and I thought they were good the entire series. I just think we need to start looking at how do we... What's next?
Yep.
What's to get through that glass ceiling? Because, Vegas, their stars weren't playing for a majority of that series, yet they were finding ways to win. And it seemed like when our stars weren't going, that was it. We had no other options. So, again, I've been saying it for years. I think depth scoring needs to be a priority. I think more goal scoring guys, because we've had playoff style players for all 10 of those years. And it hasn't done us much good.
I was guiding a Kentucky Derby seminar at Canterbury Park during the first 2 periods last night, and was watching from afar as the hockey horse came up lame. The grinders ran out of grind. The resilient retreated. Their stars shined last night, and ours didn't. End of story, end of season. So, Alec, here's a key to this equation, and good morning.
Good morning.
Because of the Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, you're familiar with the names?
The contracts.
All right, so because of the Parise-Suter buyouts that took place 4 summers ago,
Crazy.
The team has been cash-strapped to a certain extent. The debt has been paid. The future should be bright. So now we're looking at $15 million. I like how Brett started that, because the what's next plan is the plan. I mean, it depends on, like season ticket holders, Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Tamika, Antoine, who go to all the games, watch all the games, listen to all the games. Double B. He's more saddened than a young Alec today. It's his favorite team.
Correct.
It's there is a certain degree of peace that eventually is associated with finality, as we see working with the football team. And I firmly do expect that to hit members of that covenant today. It is a certain degree of peace that is associated with finality. But with that $15 million, I mean, it's the what's next plan begins right now. And if I'm getting out of my lane here, or you got a different thought on this, Double B, by all means, jump in. They're going to need to pay Kirill Kaprizov.
Going to ask about that.
Fat stacks of cash relatively soon. Does that feel like a 13 or a 14 a year, something like that?
It's going to be a lot. Well, I think it's July 1 they can start talking to him about an extension. I don't think they can talk about it yet until July 1, but that's when extension talks going to heat up. And yeah, Craig Leopold said no one in the NHL will pay him more money than we will.
Okay. So
they're
now,
going to pay him.
So like one of the common threads here during football free agency, and I think you've heard it before, is, with the way, despite some inadequacy, with some drafting over the last 3 years, free agency was boffo last year. And probably the best of all the teams in the NFL with the top to bottom what they got. Okay, so they're very comfortable with that. But the drafting of players and productivity and second contracts and stuff like that needs to be better. So from a Wild standpoint, it's like previous to this 2022 regime here, the team would have to be looking for nickels and dimes between couch cushions to get Tennessee guard Josh Klein to roll in and compete for the left guard spot. That's not the case anymore here, but it took a while to get there. Likewise for the Minnesota Wild, nearly a half decade.
4 years is nuts.
Right. And $15 million in the National Hockey League with that cap going up too. I mean, that's a fair country penny right there. So with that money, Double B, it behooves the team to ship all in, right? I mean, you ship all in on one or two players. Ziva Buyum when he's 20 and gets fair opportunity with an off season and a training camp, and let's get Ziva Buyum out there, the first round pick, and see what he can do. When he's not arriving in arenas and going, holy cow, there are arenas with two decks.
I always love that one.
So he was a little wide eyed, but he's going to be fine. Liam Ogren would be another one on whom they're counting, right? Mm-hmm. So let's think practice squad. Let's think secondary type players. Let's think Gabriel Murphy. Now it's time to unfurl them. Players like that, Liam Ogren would be one. But when they get to free agency, you see, I have elite hockey minds within my personal covenant. And there's somebody who is banging their fist on the formica saying, Matthew Nyes, a restricted free agent with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's the one. You start there. Former Golden Gopher, Matthew Nyes. Every time I saw him.
Did he play for Motzko?
I played for Bob. Mm-hmm. And every time I saw highlights of him during the Stanley Cup playoffs, and he's loose. I mean, he's tearing clear of people, just looking like a star. Restricted free agency in the NHL. Not exactly sure how that works. Are you?
That basically the team gets first crack at an extension before he'll go to actual free agency.
So is this the longest shot of long shots ever to long shot?
It's getting there.
Okay.
I mean, he is really good. Like, no question about it. And nothing we love in this town more than a good homecoming.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nyes is good.
And he's so good. Like, he's worth, bucking that bit.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good.
So is he a $5 million a year player? Boy. Because if he is, I offer $7 million. And I put Toronto in a compromising spot so they don't match. So I start with Matthew Nyes.
Is that steam? Are you working off steam with Nyes?
I got a little bit of steam. Come on, man. But then after that, Nyes is a winger. So this is the land of constant conversations of depth centermen. Joel Eriksson Ek, not a depth centerman. He's a frontliner, and he's really, really good at what he does. Hartsey caught fire at the right time. But would that be next? Double B looking at free agent centermen and offering up fat stacks of cash with the what's next plan? Brett's bets?
Well, not to be Captain Wet Blanket, but I don't know how much of the money is because Russo has tried to wet blanket is like, well, a lot of this money is going to go on to Brock Faber's new contract that activates this summer.
Oh, that's right.
A lot of that money's going to go to Kirill Kaprizov. So I'm not sure how much money they're actually going to have to spend, which stinks, even though they've got $14 million in dead cap. So I'll say on the center front.
Can they get Rob Brzezinski over there?
I know.
Do a little bit of strategery.
Seriously.
Noted capologist Alec Lewis has chimed in. Brett's bets?
Danil Yurov, if you're familiar.
Is that Buffalo?
No.
Okay.
KHL.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So this is separate from free agency.
Yeah, I got touted on a free agent Buffalo centerman, and I can't remember his name. But anyway.
Yeah, now I'll have to think about that. But yeah, Danil Yurov is highly touted, almost as highly touted as Kaprizov coming over, like Russian lighting up the KHL. He's already said his goodbyes to his team. Like, he's coming over.
Oh, he's ours.
Yes. We drafted him. So that could be the answer to our center problems. Maybe not next year, but in years to come.
Yeah, but see, the Faber bit's not due next year, is it?
It activates next year.
It activates.
Yeah, so they already signed it.
Yeah.
Right? But then
it's
now...
like activating the D.
Essentially.
Yeah. It literally is. No, it is. He's a defenseman.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Gotta activate the money. So, what you're saying...
I'm looking for this Sabres centerman.
Well, what you're saying is I think the first name begins with a J.
Okay.
What you're saying there, Brett's Bets, is
James Reimer.
all of this fat stacks of cash hysteria and dreamscaping we've been doing for a half decade. Now you're telling me we got the cash, and it's not tariffs that are holding us back. It's activating the D's cash and thinking about what we have to pay Kaprizov, which means it's going to be it ain't going to be crickets. All right. When they offer Matthew Nyes $1.7 million more than Toronto, which may have some offseason cash problems, a return of Matthew Nyes is going to turn that entire frown upside down, baby. Don't you think? You think it's not?
I would love that.
First time you smiled in a day.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I would love that. Matthew Nyes is a great player, and he's got a bright future. I would love that.
All right. Well, on behalf of 9 to Noon, KFAN, and yours truly, a wholehearted thank you to media relations mogul Aaron Sickman.
Paterka.
And it is. That's who it is.
And Joe Smith coming in clutch.
Hey, Paterka to Nyes. Nyes back to Paterka. Nyes. Score!
Joe Smith with, the ultimate pass.
He's the best. Put him on the radio show yesterday at 10. Now he listens at 9, and he helps the bit. Covenant claps for Joe Smith for caring about this little radio show. But seriously, wholehearted thank yous to Aaron Sickman and his staff, and Coach John Hines, beloved Hinesy, for being so accommodating to 9 to Noon all season. As I mentioned earlier, there is a certain degree of peace associated with finality, and that will hit all of them today. It was a thoroughly enjoyable season, and sorry it ended the way it did. All of that's courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck includes the game changer, Chad Greenway. 5-2 radio, courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. That's around the corner. We are going to do some Kentucky Derby touting today. That begins with noted elite horse racing mind Dick Girardi at 10 o'clock. Some football with Alec Lewis of the Alec Lewis podcast, middle of the presentation. Johnny Athletic joins the 9 to Noon show at 11:03. Old Johnny Athletic. The Wolves will be watching the Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets quite closely this evening, for they play the winner of that series next. That's their what's next plan. Johnny Athletic at about 11 o'clock, and Canterbury Park analyst Angela Herman will join us in studio for the final segment. More Kentucky Derby steam to be shared there. This is the Friday fill-in feast. The fill-in co-host is Alec Lewis from The Athletic at Alec_Lewis. And the producer is Brett Blakemore, who also executes that cash thing. And good morning.
And good morning. The cash thing. The Fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with their national cash contest. Head to KFAN.com. Enter the keyword happy. The keyword is happy. KFAN.com. Keyword happy.
You app.
5-2 radio is in the air. He is Chad Greenway with Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. Alec Lewis is the co-host of the Friday football / fill-in feast today, and beloved Double B. Brett's Breakaways and Brett's Bets and Brett's Blakemores. He's the producer today. You've done a wonderful job this week, man. It's been a treat working with you, Double B.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. I'm here Monday and Tuesday next week. Do I got you those days?
You do.
Excellent. That's good. Okay, 3-2. Chad, you were not here last week, which means you probably missed, you're on social media, but you're not like all obsessed with social media. Paul Charchian is moving to Utah. And it's going to be, I think it's happening relatively soon. So last week was his final Friday football feast. And, those elongated vacations that he would take over the last several years.
Yep.
It's abundantly clear that, there's something with those rest stops in Utah.
I always love that one.
That he found fetching. So
Stall number 3.
He and his lovely wife have opted to move to Utah. So that's real. That's a thing. And the Friday football feast, which started with Charch and I in 2009 at Buffalo Wild Wings. What an unbelievable season. Props to whomever with the Minnesota Vikings, Miller or Coors Beer or KFAN, decided, hey, let's get God's cartoon character with the identity of fantasy football and put him at Buffalo Wild Wings every Friday. And let's start it in 2009, the year Brett Favre's going to roll in on over Yellow Mountain on wildfire and just save the whole thing. Because that was a super memorable season with you on the team and the team. The Friday football feast, the final one we did before that NFC title game against New Orleans. There was fire marshal terrorism. There were so many people there, and we've seen some packed feasts before, all three of us. When Adrian Peterson, I think this was a Tom West production, when Adrian Peterson called the radio show at 11:45 and we ended 11:55, he's not there. But, whomever it was, Eric Ite, V-Rod, J-Dub, whomever was Jeff Manis, whomever was guiding the Great Ship Love Covenant that day, pumped up the speakers so they could, ladies and gentlemen, Vikings in New Orleans this weekend trying to get the Missions Miami. Well, guess who just called us right now? None other than Adrian Peterson. You would have thought you were at U.S. Bank Stadium during the Minneapolis Miracle. It was that loud. So from then through where we are now, the Friday Football Feast has been part of the identity of KFAN and 9 to noon. You've been part of it. You've been a big part of it. Alec is now part of it. Likewise for the co-host, Paul Charchian, who is moving to Utah, my brother.
That is so, and good morning. He doesn't write, he doesn't call, he doesn't text. There's so many ways for him to get a hold of me and say, hey, it's been a really good run. Really? What a fun time. Remember that Utah thing, that little bit we talked about?
Well, he texted
all
Lieber.
That's happening. I'm sure he texted Lieber.
Kenny Onatul.
Probably Kineshi Udeze. Whoever else did he text to? It's just like you can't throw a boy, Fred Smoot. Yeah. All of a sudden gets a text before I get one.
They're on a boat ride together.
And, but happy for him. Yeah. Moving on. He seems very excited. Charch, I better get a text quickly because you better be listening. And it's nice to know that this program is going to continue to get better then as we move forward.
Touche, says 5-2 radio.
And that's only, Charchie, that's only because you didn't text me.
Yeah.
Okay?
You can take the athlete out of the competition. You can't take the competition out of the athlete.
Yeah, there was some real steam competitiveness in that.
Yeah, get closer to the microphone or I will get incessant text messages from bosses. And I don't really want to deal with that on a Fellowship Friday. Heading into a beautiful weekend.
What a run.
So, I
Chad, how long have you been?
I called in on Thursdays.
Yeah, Chad was a weekly guest.
As a player.
As a player, I don't know what year. 12, 13, I started maybe in that range?
Yeah, maybe somewhere around there. Corey Chavis used to be on weekly. It's the weekly football player piece is a little more difficult simply because I have such a high level of respect for their Tuesdays. Okay, so is paying somebody 10 or 20 grand and getting them to call every Tuesday and have a 10-minute interview akin to laying roof when it's -10? No. But being next to this football program, likewise for you, you know how arduous those hours are during the course of the week, Alec.
Especially late in the season.
Well, especially for coaches, too.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I'm like how early some of them get there and how late they leave and stuff. And, therefore I'm just like, what? These Tuesdays are super valuable for them. But 5-2 radio, he was like, cool. I don't need the 10. I'll take 40. And we can tape every Thursday morning.
Wait.
And I'll give you 15 minutes.
Yeah, wait a second. I don't remember that.
No, but Paul Charchian had a lot to do with the Friday Football Feast. And if and or when we move on to Buffalo Wild Wings and the Friday Football Feast next season, it'll be a hodgepodge that I promise you like.
It'll be a good time, as it always is. Going through that memory lane right there of when I started with the show.
Down memory lane we go.
Thank you. Takes me to PA Dubé 06.
Wow.
Raiders ACL terrorism.
Oh.
Greenway cuts his teeth in this studio. First time ever being on the radio consistently because you allowed me to come in, which was so sweet.
First round pick, though.
And now it's like, I think back to those times of like, you have to be in here to get reps and be on the radio. Not that I'm good at it now, but it's just fun to
see Alec Lewis.
Yes. Exactly. This is how bad I was.
It's exactly. Wow. No, I mean, it's exactly right.
You didn't hear his hockey takes in the first segment?
No, I didn't.
Well, he's a noted NHL capologist.
From Alabama.
Yeah, noted hockey state.
You blended right in.
Those UAB, they got a tough program.
Alabama, Huntsville, man.
They have
Huntsville.
No, they got a squad.
No, they do.
And so does Nebraska Omaha.
He said, I bet. He said, I know UAH has a squad. I bet. No, I don't. Someone asked me the other day about the neutral zone. I'm like, yo, guys, come on.
Right. All right. So as we segue, as we put one to bed last night, the Wild season is done, and now it's full throttle with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was full throttle in the first place, but now it's the only show in town from a postseason standpoint. The Wolves dispatched of the tired and tumultuous Lakers in 5. Let's begin with that. First, Alec Lewis. I know you have all of his albums, and Chad, since you're the guest, we will begin with you. How far can the Timberwolves take this thing?
Don't like the second round matchup and how that's shaping up.
Well, we don't have a matchup yet.
I'm just seeing the future. You asked me to see the future. Mm-hmm. I think we're NBA Finals.
Hey, hold up. Yep. I don't like the second round matchup, but I think we're NBA Finals.
I look at what happened to the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Lack of depth.
Yep.
We ground them down. We have multiple scorers at different levels. When we get really good Jaden McDaniels, we're almost impossible to beat. We have length, which we saw in the Denver series last year, kills teams and will continue to give problems. We didn't play well and whooped the Lakers. Missed 18 straight threes. It was like my fourth grade team was playing. All of a sudden, they broke out and had the NBA game. And we still find a way to win. I just think we're younger, we're bigger. We got the dude. When he decides to go get a game, we're going to get a game.
3-2.
NBA Finals. Why not?
We're long, we're strong, and we're ready to get it on.
Let's go. The question for me is of that second round matchup, which would you prefer?
Very good question. We have the Golden State Warriors leading the Houston Rockets 3-2 in that first round series. Your Warriors had to earn that right via the play-in. I don't have the numbers in front of me now, but back to like 2021, play-in tournament teams advancing out of the first round were like 2-4 team. One of them that did it was Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, and they went right to the NBA Finals, and they lost. But Golden State hosts Houston tonight with a chance to dagger the young and spry Rockets. So now you got Steph and Jimmy and that cast behind them, and then you have a bunch of young, spry players for the Houston Rockets, many of whom not many are familiar. But that's a great question. What's your answer?
It's like the smarts of Jimmy and Draymond and that whole crew, plus Curry potentially going off at any point ever.
Oh, wow.
Versus, the toughness and youth, like you mentioned, of the Rockets. I part of me wants to say, you'd rather them play the Warriors, but I don't know. There's something about the way that Jimmy and Draymond and them play together that kind of concerns me a little bit.
I think the one piece about it is the fatigue factor. How all these games get this thing to 7. Warriors win.
Steph gets tired.
We take them straight to deep water the next round.
Right.
We're young and fresh and spry. Away we go. Steph's got a little thumb terrorism going on right now. I saw that swelling.
Yeah.
The one thing that the unknown of the Rockets, they've never been here. I do think, even though we didn't make it all the way to the NBA Finals last year, Western Conference, I think you learned a lot about our team, and also those guys are now experienced killers with some of these teams. What better way to get to the Western Conference Finals and then go slay Oklahoma City by going through the Lakers?
Yeah,
and
that's
then
easy.
The Warriors,
Oklahoma City,
Lakers, Warriors, OKC, Celtics. Say something. Say something.
John Krasinski, Johnny Athletic, is nice enough to join 90 minutes from now. And one of the questions I will pose to him, and Alec being a writer, he's a journalist by trade.
Can you touch the net? Ask me if you can touch the net.
Can you touch the net? Oh, John?
Yeah.
Oh, on an 8-foot basket?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know how you lower the baskets to 8 feet so your kids can start dunking at 11 or 12? Well, they lower it to 6 at his household. And, man, we got some Phi Slamma Jamma stuff taking place over there, 3-2. But as a journalist, and I think you'll appreciate this, and I hope John does, we and I want it too, we should want the New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA Finals.
Oh, baby.
The Knicks dispatched of the Pistons last night in tightly knit fashion, but it's Tibbs, it's super special Tibbs, and Karl Anthony Towns versus Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo. And when the Knicks rolled in here, man, in like December, and I took my son, Senor Smiley, to the game, and we had good seats, and we were super excited, and man, the Knicks might have been up by 40 points in about 2 minutes. I mean, it was one of the most ridiculous losses I've seen all season. And we've had some of those losses. Wolves went back there and they beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. So Wolves and Knicks, from a compelling drama-related storyline standpoint, it'd be unbelievable.
I'd love to hear the analyses of those games. Just pour it on Knicks because it's New York, it's big market, the whole deal. We're in the cornfields. Yeah. You'd be like the Lynx and the Liberty again.
Yeah. Kind of.
I would love that.
Plus about
matchup.
10 million.
I would love that matchup for several reasons, but I still want to slay the beast. If we're going to win our first
slay
title.
What beast? The Celtics?
The Celtics.
Yeah, Wolves play the Celtics well, but I want the drama.
I'm talking historical organizations to get our first. We're going to go through them. You want me to list them again? Okay, we're just going to go through the Lakers and LeBron. We're going to take down Steph Curry and Golden State. Are you with me? OKC and the upstarts.
SGA, the
we
MVP.
like those guys. Minnehaha Academy. We got one of those tall kids over there. Okay, and then we're going to go to the Celtics. How many titles do they want? It doesn't matter. We're getting our first.
That was spectacular. You don't have a preference?
It would be, to imagine this town as a result of going through I do want to say this. I've been thinking about, and you'd have a good perspective. I'm not sure if Chris Finch has gotten the amount of credit he might deserve for keeping this group that began the way it began with the trade at the beginning of the season, like together throughout this whole path. Like we're rightfully talking about Rudy becoming Hakeem Olajuwon in a game. Rightfully talking about Ant being who Ant is. But I followed this season from the outskirts. Like, it has been kind of a mess at times.
Well, you're a sidebar reporter for The Athletic when it was one of the greatest, I want to say scams, or one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
What do you mean it was? It's about to be in round 2.
So he's helping John Krasinski during the NBA playoffs, so I'm looking for the stories at The Athletic, the notes, the column, just something.
What are those seats like?
Bro, like 8 feet from the court. 8 feet from the court.
I get the lower level and I get to watch Luka play. Yeah. Why would I not? No, but seriously, Chris Finch.
Yeah.
Like the job.
Finch is good.
You talk to him all the time, but
his staff's very smart.
It just feels like to have kept this group together and gotten it to where they've gotten to, pretty impressive. There have been times where I've just seen on social media where people are just firing shots at him and at the staff and all that stuff. And
that happens in every sport.
Yeah. And I get the passion. It's how it should be from fans.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been impressive to me.
Yeah, 2 things from that last series. I have a hard time watching Doncic play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a throw a hands up, make a face. Okay. Got to get every call.
If you thought that was exhausting, wait till you get a load of Draymond Green in the next series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Seriously, Minnesota, get ready.
Yep.
Your cornfields, this is the Bay Area, so therefore, big media market. Steph, who never pisses anybody off, he's fantastic. I love Steph Curry.
Yep.
Who doesn't love Steph Curry? Unlike, some people don't love LeBron, self-proclaimed king, and Luka with everything you're saying. Jimmy the Bulldog, Jimmy Butler's a problem.
Yep.
Let's be honest. Jimmy Butler is a major, major problem. And for those who can't seem to remember, Jimmy Butler was the one who used to be on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, yeah.
And then he became quite frustrated with the program and he didn't show up for training camp. But the day he did show up for training camp, he rolled into the practice gym, looked at the general manager, Scott Layden, and said, F you and there might have been an I hate you. And then he said, let's scrimmage. And Tibbs is like, oh Jimmy, so what do you want to? I'm just happy Jimmy showed up. Watch my hand's shaking. So then Jimmy said, we got 20 here because we haven't made cuts yet. I'd like to take these 4 who probably aren't going to make the team and scrimmage against 4 of the 5 starters who will be on the team, including Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, and proceeded to dust them. And had certain stars, so to speak, shaking in their sneakers and S-ing their P's.
Yep.
And then he left. And he never came back. That's true. That's the Bulldog.
That is all true.
So we want that, Golden State? We want that?
Nah, well, I mean...
You want that smoke, YA?
It's just one of those deals. You don't get a choice. It's just the path.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we have dudes. Like Jimmy can be Jimmy.
Julius Randle ain't afraid of Jimmy Butler.
I was just going to... So my next talking point of all the criticism that I gave the high post entry, bang it for 4 times and go over the top in the regular season, that dude's toughness on I got to get a bucket. I'm going to hit this little 8-foot floater over the top of somebody who's 7'2". That's the difference from Cat to Julius that we didn't have, that toughness factor. Now you throw in Jaden and you throw in Ant's toughness, and all of a sudden, you're a tough out.
Right.
I mean,
you got dogs.
With the young guys, with the young legs, with the grind that this NBA playoffs, they are. I mean,
Steph might not be ready for this smoke. O'Connell said that the other day about something. I think I've said it 15 times the last 3 days. Might not be ready for that smoke.
You just want the best. I want to take him down.
The NBA, I mean, honestly, for the NBA, probably hoping that Ant becomes like the future figure. I mean, you slay LeBron, Curry. Yep. I mean, it would be a path that would be.
And then they want him to go to the Lakers. So we can avoid that
exactly, one. No,
then we're down 3-1 in the series. And why aren't we trading for Kevin Durant?
I went to the only thing in my head of the Rockets. I went to a game they played at Target probably in February, and Şengün had like 30-something.
Very good player.
And Van Vliet was hitting shots that night because for some reason, just like Rui Hachimura the other night, there is a player against the Wolves every time whose three-point percentage is probably like 20-30%, the Obi Toppins of the world, and they somehow shoot like 8 of 15 while the Wolves couldn't make a 3 to save their life. It's... No, the Warriors, that would be, I mean, for entertainment purposes, that's probably the best.
Yeah, everybody wants that series.
Right, but now they lead 3-2, and they're up, they're at home. So they need to close tonight. I mean, it's Steph and Jimmy. One of them has been to the finals. The other has multiple rings. Yeah, they probably close tonight. But the best thing here is you get home court advantage because they came from the play-in. So that was like part of that talker ad nauseum, the final month of the season, and Finchy would hit on it hard too, is you don't want to be in the play-in, man. Just the play-in sucks. It's because you don't get time off up to the first series or limited time off, but then you get in a situation like this. Now, let's be honest, at this stage of Steph Curry's career, he couldn't care less if he's at home or on the road.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, it's more drama to go into somebody else's gym and pull up from the logo like Caitlin Clark and dagger him.
Just sleepy.
And shake the shoulders.
Yeah, one of those deals.
But you get home court advantage if you face the Golden State Warriors. Minnesota already is going to start thinking about, why is everybody on ESPN always talking about Steph? We have a team too. And just when we thought Luka Doncic got calls and cried more than anybody in the history of the NBA, wait till you get a load of Draymond Green trying to kick your favorite players right in the spot.
Hope he does.
That's what he does.
Tee him up.
It's no, I mean, he should have gotten ejected in one of those 2 games ago. It was he's on the ground. He can't control himself in these situations.
Would that be Randall and Draymond? Would they match up?
Oh, wow.
Beef.
Well, that's not a match. That's a technique. That's a bloodbath.
I would, that's pay to watch right there.
Well, that's terrific. And see, if you lose to Houston, if you lose to Golden State, well, I mean, you lost to Steph, Cinch Hall of Famer. Jimmy Butler's got some Hall of Fame to him. You know, Draymond has rings. You lost to those guys. What a great run it was. If you lose to Houston, you got to explain away losing to players most haven't heard of. Okay, Dylan Brooks, cool, he likes to start fights. Amen Thompson, His brother, Alzer Thompson, just got bounced by the Knicks.
The parents of those two twins,
Amen.
I don't know what. Amen.
Right.
Yeah, amen.
Right.
I don't know how those kids are as athletic as I've ever seen.
I mean, just think of this. Just think of this sentence. If this guy happens to have 21 points and 10 rebounds in a convincing win. I mean, could you guys imagine? Did you guys have any idea how good Tari Eason is? I mean, holy cow, is he just made for this moment?
I couldn't even point it.
Tari Eason's made for this moment, isn't he?
I couldn't pick him out of the lineup.
See? He's standing next to former Rocket Granville Waiters. All right, the Warriors beat the Wolves 3-4 this year. The Rockets and Wolves split 2-2, and all the games were high scoring in that four-pack. And that'll be part of the conversation during the Friday fill-in feast. Certainly with Johnny Athletic at about 11 o'clock, we segue to football with a Chad Greenway, courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits around the corner. This is 9 to noon on KFAN.
If you want to chime in what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you've said by texting your message to 64686. That is 64686. Enter text message and data rate supply.
And by the way, as the talkback machine goes at the free iHeartRadio app, we have a segment near the end of the show about 11:20 post to Johnny Athletic, where we will drop in wild closure related talkbacks. And that'll take place a little later in the show. So start dropping those in, and we might start dispersing them within the next 20, 30 minutes. But then we'll play a slew of them in the neighborhood of 11:20. Wild closure related talkbacks to the free iHeartRadio app. You know the drill. Find the microphone, and you have up to 30 seconds to state your case / opinion. Chad Greenway, Grey Duck Vodka, Grey Duck Spirits. Didn't missed your opinion last week as you were traveling with the children competing on the Minnesota Vikings draft. And we're not necessarily going to go through all of them and be like, Chad, give us the in-depth all 22 on Maryland wide receiver Ty Felton, or Georgia defensive lineman Ty Ingram Dawkins, or Penn State linebacker Kobe King, or Pittsburgh tight end Gavin Bartholomew. But you have valued real estate each and every Friday on the Friday Football Feast, which means inherently, you being a decade-long National Football League player, the first-round picks, I mean, you got to have a little quick twitch on that, which we know you do. Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman, Ohio State University, 24th overall. We'll start there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm sitting. Ever been to Hampton, Virginia?
Yes, I have.
Beautiful.
Growing up in Washington, D.C., it's the Newport News area.
Newport News.
Hampton.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Mike Vick. It's Allen Iverson.
Freak athletes.
It's dog of all dogs ever to dog.
Absolutely. Just doggies down there. Mm-hmm. Down there for a little hoops action. The Boo Williams Invitational.
Did you guys win?
And you don't win. Yeah. You win games, but you don't win the event.
Yeah, what's
Hampton? It's a season-long deal.
Boo Williams like a legend.
Legend.
Who's Boo Williams?
Boo is he's a legendary figure in AU basketball world circles. Produced Allen Iverson. I mean, just you look on the walls, you're like, oh, okay, it's different down here.
Let's go, Boo.
Sitting in an establishment having a cocktail when the guard gets picked.
Yep.
And former golfer, friend of mine, is also a coach for the AU club, says, we got to take guard here. Boom, we take guard. And he was real happy with himself. But the point I bring up is when I looked at the draft and the need and the depth, that's exactly where I would have went. I mean, again, I'm not getting paid to make that decision, but the brass sees the thing. Saw it the same way, and also with the lack of depth in picks, to go get somebody who you can plug and play multiple positions. The versatility was huge. I thought it was a really good pick. I thought it was smart. You're not going to get any love from the national media picking a guard in that spot and say how great you are, but when the pads come on and when that kid can play, and when week one we go play, we have a potential day one starter that we can plug and play in multiple positions.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like Kwesi Adofo-Mensah after the draft, he gave a long explanation about golfing that the summary was just don't do too much. And that's what it felt. And when you only have 4 picks, you're entering with 4 picks. Just hit it down the fairway and move forward. And I mean, your take is exactly right. Like there were some people that probably on the outside analyzing it, it's like he might have been, more of a second round talent or whatever. But it's like if you get a guy who can start for 10 years at left guard for you, considering the lack of draft success in recent years, but also just the need at that position, just no-brainer. Move forward, protect for the young quarterback.
Well, you go back to the Kirk Cousins years and era. How good was Kirk when we can keep him upright? How good was Kirk when we could keep him in the pocket, keep a fresh, clean pocket? How good is Patrick Mahomes always? But when he has a clean pocket and he's upright, he's the best player potentially to ever play the game. But all of a sudden, O-line gets a couple nicks, a couple bruises, a left tackle goes down before the Super Bowl a couple years back. All of a sudden, he becomes more to the norm. We have to keep this young quarterback up. We have to protect him. We have to give him a shot. And I think then you allow him to be an athlete, which he is. You allow him to make the throws he can make, but also 3rd and 6, I got to stay in the pocket. They're keeping me in. I got to make this throw. Can they hold up? We have to do that. And also, so sometimes that means you take a guard at 24, and it's not sexy, but you get it. You don't need that sexy pick at that spot.
So with Donovan Jackson, 1st-round pick, 24th overall, I'm going to lay it out like this. Is he drafted / anointed to start at left guard, or is he favored to start as we head into the offseason? Here's why I bring it up. Because in Chad's penultimate year, 2015, the Vikings drafted Michigan State corner Trey Waynes, and they took him 11th overall. Well, Trey didn't start. I mean, the only way he started a game his rookie year, if he did, is because somebody else got hurt. Now, the serendipity for Trey that year, even though he didn't like it, from what I understand, he had to start on special teams. Well, he became one of the better tackling corners, not only on the team, but like in the NFC, once he embraced and accepted starting it there. But, yes, I would say Donovan Jackson probably starts, but I mean, stranger things have happened, right?
Well, how often are NFL teams going through a season with a starting 5 at the O-line with stability? I mean, what you do is you bring him in and you got to assess where's this kid at. First of all, it's going to be tough because he's now getting paid less than he was in college at Ohio State. But let's start with that. Yeah. But secondly is you don't know until you get him in shorts and underwear, right? And you're running around OTAs and you're playing. Okay, kid can move. Kid has good feet. We love him. Okay, now you get pads on. Now you see it. So is this, you say, you don't draft him and say, yep, plug and play, boom. You really don't know because we have a pretty good offensive line you're going to come into. Now, where does he fit in? If he's day one starter, that means we got a good one and we're ready to roll.
Right.
But at worst, you have a young kid to develop in 3 positions, essentially, we'll call it 2 to be safe, where you have to be able to go be versatile for us because you're talented, you're athletic, you're coming in. Mm-hmm. We need you because something's going to happen. Somebody's going to roll an ankle. Somebody's going to have something go on where we're going to need you. So that's at a minimum.
Alec and I will talk more about that in a couple of segments. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks to Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits. We appreciate your inclusion, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Yeah, thanks a lot. See you.
Chad Greenway, 5-2 Radio, each and every Friday, 9 to noon. We go to touting the Kentucky Derby next segment, and Dick Girardi is horse racing immortality, and we'll see what he has up his tattered sleeve for Derby 151, which is tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Watch and wager. Be a part of racing history at Canterbury Park. We'll be right back.